Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, William, and today we are doing the LCS podcast for week 7. I'm your host, William, and I am the only one here today. Brian still hasn't given me his power rankings or his predictions, so we will get those after here. But I do have Ryan's, and I am going to probably be sharing a lot of Ryan's notes for this podcast because they were pretty good. But let's start with our prediction overview. As of last week, I went 7-3. Brian went 5-5, and Ryan went 6-4. I am now up to 38-22. Brian is at 29-31, and Ryan, for the first time all year, is finally above 500. You finally made it, Ryan. After 3 straight 6-4 weeks, you are up to 31-29. Yay! I've actually, because of a 9-1 and a 7-3 back to back, I should say, I've really picked up steam in NA. I'm up to 38-22 here. So you're starting to lose some ground. You're 7 games back with only 3 games left. So that'll be interesting to see. So the games that happened this week, we had C9 over FlyQuest. That was a good win by C9, but FlyQuest was okay, I thought, in that game. It's just impossible to beat C9. We had Team Liquid beat TSM with Tactical and did not have Double Lift in the lineup because of laryngitis and some other stuff that we learned just last night, where I'm kind of glad we didn't do the podcast last night because we would have missed that news. Golden Guardians over Immortals, which we all lost. Me, Brian, and Ryan all lost that. We also lost TSM over Team Liquid, except for Brian. Brian did get that one picked correctly. 100 Thieves versus Evil Geniuses. Me and Ryan won that. Brian lost that. I think that I still want to deep down believe in 100 Thieves, I feel like. I've kind of given up a lot on Evil Geniuses, but 100 Thieves, I'm like, that team could make a run for it, I feel like. They're like my bottom barrel team that could still like make a run here. Then they did lose to Team Liquid again with Tactical, and Team Liquid just flat out dominated this week. It's quite opposite for this split, but they dominated this week. And then you had FlyQuest over Dignitas, CLG versus TSM, which we'll talk about that. There's so much to talk about today. There's so many topics I want to talk about. Evil Geniuses over Golden Guardians. Immortals coming back against CLG, which we will also talk about. And C9 versus Dignitas. So let's actually talk a little bit here briefly about our lovely place known as NA. So those are our predictions right there from last week. But NA has been a hell of a clump, to be for sure. We have C9 at the very top. They have officially clinched playoffs at a solid 12-0 record. Very good record to start the year. FlyQuest at 8-4. Has sort of shocked the world, even me, to be honest. I expected them to make playoffs. I was really excited about Ignar, and they've absolutely proven that to be correct. Also, notice how, unlike Korea, which we just talked about previously on the Korean podcast, 5 players, 6 players, 7 players, actually. 5, 5, 5, 5, 6, 5. Like, almost no substitutes here in NA. Almost none, compared to Korea, especially. But we had FlyQuest in second place. Immortals currently in third at 6-6. Team Liquid has risen up from 9th to 4th on a solid 3-game win streak to tied for third with Immortals. TSM is 6-6 at their 2-game losing streak, which was very frustrating to watch. This still stuns me that Immortals is 6-6 because you'll see in my power rankings where I really think about this Immortals team. 100 Thieves at 5-7 at 6th place. Dignitas at 5-7. Time for 6. Evil Geniuses at 5-7, and Golden Guardians at 5-7. So literally 3rd through 9th, we still have a clump of 1 game difference. Like there's a literal 1 game difference between 3rd and 9th place, and even then you have CLG at the bottom at 2-10, which they do get they doubled their wins for the year, so that's a positive, I guess. It's not that big of a positive, but it's a positive. We can say that. So let's start here. Adol and Ryan, I don't know if you guys are here yet, but let's start with some topics. First topic, I would say the easiest one to talk about is C9 being 12-0. coming off a win against both FlyQuest and Dignitas. Dignitas is a semi-playoff team, like kind of there, but FlyQuest is definitely the second best team in NA right now. And so that was a good another stepping stone for them. And I really, really just do not see C9 losing at all this year until maybe week 9 against Team Liquid, depending on how they look for that final game. But for the most part, I'm really expecting C9 to be starting at least at bare minimum starting this year at 17-0. They just look phenomenal. It is partially because NA is in a very poor state at the moment, but you can't take that all away. They are looking pretty decent on top of it. They're making very smart macro decisions. They're not losing. They did finally lose their first mid tower, sadly, yesterday, but that was their first mid tower loss in 12 games. Like, that's insane. That's insane. You got to give them props for that, no matter what. Even because it's similar to Flash Wolves in the LMS. The LMS was bad, but Flash Wolves were still a good team at the end of the day. And I still think Cloud9 is a very good team. I just think that hopefully NA with hopefully what I'm thinking is a revival of Team Liquid here coming up, then we'll see some more competition for C9, maybe. But yeah, Team Liquid had a 2-game win streak, both with Tactical as the ADC instead of Doublelift. It initially started out as laryngitis, and Doublelift wasn't able to practice or anything. But then we find out after the fact, and now that even though he had laryngitis, there was underlying problems as well on top of that with a lack of effort. And Doublelift has now been benched indefinitely until... I shouldn't say indefinitely. They're taking it week by week, for sure. And it will be very curious because Tactical looked pretty damn good. He looked really good, I'll say. I was like, against TSM, he kind of was just there, but that wasn't bad at all. There's no harm in that. Because Broxa was a beast this week. Broxa this week was the Broxa that Team Liquid envisioned when they got Broxa on their team. An early game monster, because Team Liquid always struggled in the early game. He was an early game monster that just popped off at the very beginning of both games and just snowballed the entire team to victory. That was the reason why he got Player of the Week as well. You could almost give it to Tactical. I thought, because he didn't actually die. He has a perfect KDA right now. But perfect KDA, perfect win rate. He didn't die, right? I don't believe so. Let me double check that before I just start spouting out lies. Application error still. Man, forgot the league website's down, or apparently is down. But or for match history, but there we go. We'll see how it goes with Team Liquid. They have a very easy week, I will say. They don't have to deal with too much competition, which I think is partially why this having Tactical in instead of Doublelift is okay to do. They have CLG and Immortals this week. Sure, you could be like, well, Immortals is the third place team. Immortals is not good. Immortals is again a miracle. This Immortals team is sitting at 6-6. I can't. This team is there's so many issues with NA that Immortals was 6-6. But anyway, we have. So my personal take on it, because obviously I'm a big Team Liquid fan, is I have to kind of agree with Team Liquid on their decision here. I really, really, really did not like the interviews that Doublelift was saying that, like, yeah, we don't care, like, or there's no lack of motivation. Like, I get it, because of the sense that they'd won 4 in a row, 4 championships in a row, and like I believe they've mentioned previously, like NA is kind of trash in the fact that you learn more just going to an international tournament, like just the scrims against top other international teams like the LPL and all of that, like LCK and even EU as well. You learn more there in like 2 weeks than you learn in your scrims all year. with some other NA teams. But there's still no excuse for. I'm the type of guy that's like literally never surrender, never do any of that. Like always play out a game because you're gonna win. You're gonna win more than you realize. If your team doesn't just tilt off the face, if you're not Chovy and you don't tilt off the face of the earth, and you just really try and focus on getting picks and like trying to just slowly work your way back in the game, play a little safer, just slowly go for pick after pick. Don't try and face too many team fights if you're down too far. You can win a lot of games. Like, people give up way too easily, in my opinion. And right, even if you're down like 8k gold, you can absolutely win that game with just some smart play and a little bit of smart macro around the map, especially in solo queue. A little bit similar to professional league, but it's not nearly as easy in professional league to come back from 8k gold leads because teams are a little cleaner. Hey, welcome back, Idol. We're currently talking about double lift. So yeah, I really don't like the attitude of just not trying. That's disrespectful not only to the league itself, but just like to your teammates. Like, if your like no one else on the team was like saying, yeah, we're not trying. It was just like, oof, it's I don't like that attitude whatsoever. But I did like how he handled it on Twitter. Much better than Forgiven, if we're going back a week or two. Forgiven handled it like a complete joke, like he is. And it's the reason he's never going to get a team again. I think Double Lift actually did handle it professionally. I think this was quite a big wake-up call, I'm thinking, at least. And that we're going to see a pretty explosive Double Lift coming in probably, I'm going to argue, next week. I think week 8 and then week 9 they'll probably be back and just in time for playoffs. And I think it lit a fire. I think he needed it, though. There were definitely no excuses for what he was doing. What do you have something to say about Idol? What's your topic? In the meantime, while Idol, you're typing that up, I think that Team Liquid, meanwhile, is going to be probably 4-0 with Tactical, which is going to cause a little bit of distress, especially if you bench him for Double Lift. I was like TSM. I don't know why TSM was in my head, but if you bench him for Double Lift and they going out to lose to Evil Geniuses, then we got a little bit of a situation. But yeah, when was the last time Blue Side lost? Yeah, Ryan made that point exactly during the games this week. Blue Side only lost one time this week. Like, it is weird that whenever Blue Side wins as hard as it does, and it does happen a lot in NA, I always consider it. I think we we're very lazy on our drafting, if that makes sense. And that does make me actually want to bring up another point, was Team Liquid versus TSM's draft. TSM got, in my opinion, unnecessarily flamed for, hang on, let me pull this up over here, for their draft. I think, there we go. We got match history. I just had to log in. But we're going to look at match history here for TSM. So, Blue Side won, like you were saying, Idol. Blue Side has won a lot, and the reason of that is, like I've said before, is poor drafting. This right here is a poor draft by TSM. I think that Varus Tom Kench is a very safe lane that is always going to lose lane. Kale is always going to lose lane. And Maokai is always going to lose lane. So, when your top, mid, and 80 in your bot lane are all losing lane, you're really leaving your jungler out to dry for the most part. Especially when they pick someone like Sejuani, who's not very good early. Much more of a mid to late game pick where her bulkiness and her team fighting mechanics and abilities are what make her shine. Well, you picked into Set, who has a strong early game, a pretty strong laning phase with his shield. Gragas has very good level 2 ganks, and Gragas really never falls off for the most part. Gragas is always just a very strong pick at the moment. Jensen on Zoe was just popping off. And then you had Tactical and Misfortune at 3-0. Who won on Red Side? Red Side was FlyQuest beat Dignitas on Red Side this week. As I don't know what that game is. Put that over there. But as you can see, FlyQuest beat Dignitas. And we had 3 wins on Red Side last week. But it's 7-3. Then actually week 4, Red Side won almost every game, which is kind of weird. But like week 5 and week 6, it's been a combined I can do math. 16-4. Blue Side is 16-4 on the last 2 weeks. TSM beat 100 Thieves. C9 beat Immortals, which doesn't really count because it's C9. And 100 Thieves beat Golden Guardians. But yeah, 16-4. But I like this draft from TSM if they change it up a little bit. So the idea behind this draft is to have a tanky. You have the Sunfire Cape buff that you have on Maokai. So that's important because Maokai. That's why you're picking Maokai here. But you're picking him in the mid lane, and you're picking him and Sejuani to frontline for you. You're picking Tahm Kench to save your backline of Varus and Kayle. And you basically want Varus and Kayle to just stay in the back, have these two absorb damage. Tahm Kench can block anything, like if they get hit by a Zoe Trouble Bubble or something like that. And then play it like that. Play it through a team fight there. They never got to that point because they died on the Kayle 4 minutes into the game. And then you took a dragon, sure, but then you gave up Rift Herald. You gave up more plates. You took another dragon, but while you're taking dragon, you gave up another Rift Herald. And you gave up another turret. Then you gave up a kill, and then another, and then all of a sudden everything just started snowballing from there. But my philosophy behind this is I like the concept. You can keep Kayle up top lane. You can keep Sejuani in the jungle. Maokai is not a mid laner. Maokai loses mid to pretty much every single matchup in the game. And I'm not saying don't pick Maokai in this composition. I like Maokai in this composition. I think Maokai has a place in this meta now that Ornn, if Ornn is banned. Ornn is obviously number 1, and no matter what the scenario is, Ornn is just all around better. Put this Maokai on support. Senna was banned this game, but if you have a Maokai support here, I think that he can peel just as hard as Tahm Kench can with his roots, and just being able to root any person that jumps in on him, they can root and knock him down or knock him away, and then root him again, and then if you can pick Senna was banned like this time, but if you can pick Senna and do the C9 strat, or where Senna goes in, doesn't farm, only pokes, but is the ADC, so gets enough gold overall, or gold stat items overall, that she's still super good. And then your support farms with Maokai, and then he gets tanky. And then farming, try to poke out a Maokai is pretty easy at the moment. Try to poke out a Maokai with Senna just sitting in the backline healing, and or maybe poking, but then going back and healing every now and then, is near impossible. This man gets so healthy, and then he'll be so tanky as your support that you could do so much with it. On top of that, you can now free the mid lane up. Syndra was banned this game. You can throw LeBlanc in here. You can throw... I can't think of too many mid lane... Kiana. Anyone that roams. I'm thinking Talon, but obviously Talon or Zed or something like that. But that's not going to happen too often in pro play. But like any mid laner that roams, you can now pick them for this. And even a Yasuo can work here. If you can roam on Yasuo, Maokai's Q is like a knockback. So that counts as just a point and click W, and then you Q them, and then Yasuo can ult off that on a gank bot. So I think if you give an early game champion, or like a roaming type champion, like a LeBlanc or a anything like that just can just impact the map. Kiana especially is what I'm really thinking. You get that. You now have Kiana that's able to roam up and save your Kale so she doesn't just get dived. It can save your bot lane because they're going to get dived. The issue of having losing lanes on every matchup, you're not going to win every lane, obviously, but having losing lanes on every single matchup, it means that every other matchup can rotate and roam around and just affect the map as a team a lot quicker than you can do. So if you had someone in the mid lane like Bjergsen and you can have like on Kiana or something, he can go bot lane and keep Kabe alive. He can go top lane and keep Broken Blade alive. All of a sudden you're like, or just even relieving pressure to make Dardoch just more viable. You can really do something with this comp. I do like the outside the box thinking. I just think they did it wrong. Give me a Senna as the ADC. Give me, which if it's not banned. Varus works fine too if it is banned, because even support Maokai on a budget, you can absolutely work with the little minions for sure. But give me a Maokai on support instead of mid lane. That's all I want. And then I think this team comp really comes together well in that scenario. Why not ban Zoe here? Yeah, I think that Zoe's a very bad matchup for Maokai. Maokai can't do anything. So she just sits back and pokes him all day. Like, there's no way he should eat. And then she's just going to, like, sleepy troll bubble him. He's very hard to dodge, I guess, as Maokai, unless you W. Like, you can go under it, sure. But outside of that, it's going to be a tough matchup. These are Ryan's notes, by the way. I did want to bring them up. But before we bring those up, actually, let's talk about the biggest news before yesterday, which was that Crown has been kicked off of CLG. He has departed CLG, and now CLG has one less player from you could say the Power of Evil trade between CLG and FlyQuest has completely sucked for CLG. FlyQuest has won the trade completely because Power of Evil right now is tied for the most valuable player in the league with 5 player of the game standings. And then Crown for CLG is not on the team anymore 6 weeks into the season. Like, I've never seen such a fall to grace. And like, Crown wasn't bad last year. He wasn't amazing, but he wasn't bad at all on FlyQuest. And it was really Crown and Meteos like kind of like stepping it up for the rest of the team. And Big, let's not forget Big, our Lord and Savior. But yeah. And now he's just gone. Like, he's a shadow of like it just seemed like something didn't click on CLG. It was bad from the beginning. There was a lot of issues. And there still is a lot of issues. But I think since they've added Pobelter back, like, Pobelter has kind of fixed them by taking a leadership role, I think, there, and really kind of brought them out a little bit. Not to say they're fixed by any means necessary. We saw their game against Immortals. Oh my god. This team did not... It's almost like CLG listened to the advice that me and a few others have given, but they didn't do it at the right time. If you're, we'll bring it up. We'll bring it up because I want to talk about this. CLG versus Immortals. CLG was up a lot. We're talking a 4K lead at 32 minutes. They got Baron. This game was in their hands. But before that happened, actually, they gave away Ocean Drake right here. When I mentioned it before on the podcast, when I said you should always go for the soul, or you should never go for the soul if you're up a lot, like right here, this is probably a bad time to go for a Dragon Soul because you don't want to add Elder to the map when Elder can, if it's stolen, especially when you're facing someone like a Smithy, who's notorious for stealing things. If it's stolen, you've just lost the game, because Elder is literally like a lose game buff. So, in my opinion, if you are going to have, like, if it's like a Mountain Soul or something, it's just not worth to even bother. Like, just delay, you can delay Elder as long as you want at that point, because just you have enough of a lead now, you can easily, with a 4K lead, just completely control the map. Which they didn't do. The one dragon that does not fall into that scenario is Ocean Drake. Ocean Soul is super busted. Disgustingly busted, in my opinion. It is just as good as the Elder buff, in my opinion, with how strong Ocean Soul is. You have to go for it no matter what. And they just handed it over. And then they just handed it, and then they gave up a bunch of towers and inhib, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, now they got 2 Ocean Souls, or Ocean Dragons. Then they get a 3rd Ocean Dragon. And then, like, sure, you got a Baron and inhib again. Yeah, you already gave up the Ocean Soul, so even though you got another inhib and a tower, you can't fight at Elder. You cannot fight a fight at Elder when the other team has Ocean Soul. You can't fight any fights anymore when the other team has Ocean Soul. You just lose any type of skirmish that doesn't result in an instant ace for the other team. Like, you just lose it. And that's why I didn't understand that they just didn't go get this last dragon right here. They just let Immortals have this, even though, look at, they had an inhib down. Like, they had complete control of the map. They had absolute complete control of the map. It's like it's like they listen. If this was Mountain Soul, I am totally fine with giving Mountain Drakes over. I'm totally fine giving Mountain Drakes over to this team. Camille is building 0 defense. Trundle is building actually quite a bit of defense. But, there's not many tanky people like an Ornn or something. Now, if Ornn's in the game, I also don't think you should give away Mountain Soul. But, Infernal Soul is garbage, in my opinion. It really doesn't... It helps a little bit, but it doesn't help that much, in my opinion. Cloud Drake is garbage except on certain champions. It's really, really, really good on Swain. I will tell you that from personal experience. But in certain champions like that. But Camille, so what? She put you in a box, so she doesn't need movement speed after that. Trundle, it's actually not bad on. Cassiopeia, she stunned you. She doesn't need movement speed after she stunned you. But there's a lot of champions that don't have a good Ocean or Cloud Soul. So Cloud Soul's pointless to me for the most part, depending on your team comp. Misfortune stands still when she ults. Why does she need to move forward? So Cloud Souls and Infernal Souls, especially, I think are what CLG would have been. What they did would be correct if they played it a little better. But no, this was Ocean Soul, and Ocean Soul is just the Elder buff in the reverse. Elder buff executes you right away. Ocean Soul makes it so you never die. So angry. Because this is another game for Immortals here. This is their 4th game of the year that they won that they didn't deserve to win. The other team beat them and beat themselves, so Immortals was gift wrapped in a win type situation. This happened 4 times in NA this year. It's a disgrace. It makes me so angry. It makes me it's such a poor level of league that makes me so angry. I accidentally exited out of Ryan's notes. But let's talk about my power rankings and Ryan's power rankings here with some notes I got. Let's pull them up. So we don't have Brian's power rankings, but we have me and Ryan. So let's actually compare some notes here. First off, let's start at the bottom. We both have CLG at number 10. I think that is understandable. I'll actually bring up some of Ryan's talking points as well. He has CLG at number 10. Pobelter has generally made a difference, and not just in terms of apparently improved team atmosphere and communication. He's been laning really well and been generally super solid in fights as well. I completely agree with that, Ryan. The CLG still has a lot of issues with coordination, but the fact that this team went from dead in the water to potentially 2-0 after 1 week with a mid laner who, 1, wasn't even playing mid this split, and 2, isn't a former world champion. CLG are sadly still last, but I'm kind of excited to see if they continue to trend upward. But that sad loss to Immortals, where in my opinion they were fighting an uphill battle from draft, but still were rotating, outfighting Immortals, may have killed the honeymoon phase. And also back to TS. By the way, back to TSM. If they win the first game, they will go 2-0. If they lose, they will go 0-2. Yeah, TSM is super wishy-washy this year. They're consistent at being inconsistent, and the issue I have is their first game this week is against Cloud9. So I'm a little worried for TSM. Let's just say that. Me and Ryan both have Evil Geniuses at number 9. If I bring my thing back here, you can see that me and Ryan are actually really close in our power rankings now because I think that his power rankings have been fixed. Math don't lie. Like he always says. He only follows his formula. Yeah, he does. And like you mentioned here, it took a few weeks, but my formula is starting to genuinely bear fruit. My power rankings are almost perfectly in line with the current LCS standings, which is, it took a little while. There was a little funkiness due to the clump, but it's getting there. But it's not as spicy anymore, which is unfortunate. So, Evil Geniuses, his note about Evil Geniuses was, despite their win versus Golden Guardians, that game was a mess, when it could have been an easy closeout and ending up raising them a spot from here. And then they got smacked badly by 100 Thieves and continue to show borderline multiple personalities within the same week. Some games, they look like 5 solo queue players doing their own thing with Garen and Zazel duo queuing. In the other games, they actually look coordinated and dangerous. It's up to them to string together performances consistently to raise my formula, and they haven't, so here they are. Absolutely. We got Evil Geniuses all wrong at the beginning of the split. I believe we had them at like 5th or 6th or something. Like, we didn't have them necessarily super high, but we said that they were going to be such a coin flip team. And we were incorrect, but correct. We meant by they're going to be a coin flip team because they're going to either like go too ham or they're just going to pop off. And there was no middle ground. Well, the coin flip ended up being there, but not the way we thought it was going to be. The coin flip ended up being, how does a solo queue team win games against a coordinated team in professional, like a 5-man? How does a solo queue with a duo queue in there with Garen and Zazel? But how does it work with the rest of the team? It all depends. Is Jizuke going to be on the same page this game? Don't know. Is Bang going to be on the same page this game? Don't know. Is Sven going to die a bunch this game? Don't know. Like, there is a lot wrong with this team. And I will say, I know Ryan disagrees with me on this. Bang and Jizuke are just off in their own land, which is very frustrating. It's got to be so frustrating as a team to have your two. I've been in these games. That's the bad thing about Evil Geniuses. They look like my solo queue games, where if you're playing a tank or like your front line, and your two main sources of DPS with your mid and ADC are just on an exact opposite page of your team, you're not gonna win. You're really not gonna win. And I know this point probably doesn't help at all. But this is for Evil Geniuses. I'll give them a little pointer here. That from what I personally do in solo queue. If I can, I remember a game like this very, very vividly. Very vividly. If you have a certain ADC or mid laner who's having a severe attitude problem, and say, like for me, I play a lot of Maokai or Cho'Gath or something. The game I'm remembering specifically was was Maokai. We were winning the game, like 5k gold up. Let's just say that. Everything's going well. All of a sudden, like our 10-2 Vayne or so decides she no longer wants to team fight for whatever reason and only wants to split push. She gets caught out. She dies. We have no pressure on the map. Enemy team takes a Baron. She gets caught out again because she just went to go split push again. She dies. We're losing everything. Like the game's falling apart. We've lost our 5k gold lead. It's now a tie game. What I did in a game like that, and I've done in multiple games, is you have to swallow your pride. You have to be like, in my mind, a coordinated 5-man mistake is better than an uncoordinated 3 to 4-man good plan, if that makes sense. So what I would do after that point on is when Vayne went to the bot lane to split push, I just went with her as Maokai. And I'm like, I'm just going to follow her lead. Whatever she does, we're just going to do as a team now. Like, that's what we're just going to do. And we ended up winning the game because we ended up winning a team fight right after that because we had all 5 people there. And it was a tie, even though it was a tie game at the time, and they had a lot of momentum on their side. We beat them, we aced them, and we won the game. Evil Geniuses kind of have to do that at this point. Between Jizuke and Bang, and the whole team is just completely out of sync. I think that they just have to follow their lead. I think it's frustrating, probably, as a shot caller, like Zazel and Svenskeren. But if you're shot calling and no one's following your shot call, are you really shot calling? You know what I mean? Like, if Jizuke and Bang are on their own, doing their own thing, just follow them and do their own thing. It might be the wrong move. It might be stupid. But you have a higher percentage of winning a game just by following their lead than you do when you just try to stick with your own plan and just stick it out. A good plan will never work if you only have 3 of the 5 people you need to execute the plan. A bad plan has a chance to work. You can stumble upon a way to... You can just stumble your way to victory. It's kind of what Evil Geniuses need to do right now. Enough about them. They're only number 9. Number 8, Ryan has Dignitas. I have Immortals. So I have Dignitas number 7. So they're right there with each other. Dig... Ryan has mentioned Dig. They got crushed by Fly, and while Dig also got crushed by C9, which still doesn't count so long as they remain undefeated, they continue to look like they've lost their identity and are now suffering from other teams finding themselves late in the split. They are above Evil Geniuses due to having the head-to-head tiebreaker. Yeah, Dignitas, I think, has completely washed up that fountain of youth. They started out hot. They had that really good 3-0 start with beating Team Liquid on there as well, but we didn't realize Team Liquid was going to be as poor as they were when they initially started the year. And Dignitas looks quite bad right now. I have them at 7, so I have them outside of my playoffs as a team. But man, it's just... I'm curious if Tactical... So let's say, like, what do you guys think here? Because Johnson started out like going to be MVP of the split. Like, amazing. Oh my god. Best NA, the only NA rookie. He's so good. And now he's not. Now he's fallen down. Along with it's not just him though. It's like Greg has struggled a lot. Aftermoo has struggled a lot. All of their quick bursts that they had initially between Froggen and Hooney and all that, that's all gone away. It's gone downhill really fast. So if Tactical, say, goes 2-0 this week, Team Liquid keeps him in again, he goes 2-0 next week. He's got 6 games under his belt. Let's even say he doesn't die. Like, say he has like a perfect KDA or like 1 death and his KDA is looking fantastic. Would he be rookie of the split over Johnson? Because it's only between those two. Tactical's actually given Johnson a little bit of a competition, even though he's only played 2 games. He's the only other person that can qualify for rookie of the split. This split. Yeah, Tactical is really good. Like, for sure. And say Team Liquid goes 6-0 with Tactical, and then they put Double It back in, because I really do think they will put Double It back in before the playoffs. It's just, I mean, it's not even Tactical's fault by any means. It's just they're gonna add Double It back at some point. But Tactical's really proven to himself really well so far. But if he performs really well for 6 games, does the rookie of the split win with 6 games? If Dignitas doesn't recover and Johnson doesn't look as good anymore, that'd be quite interesting to see. That would probably be the least amount of games a rookie of the split has ever won, just because there's like no rookies right now. It's very weird. And regarding Immortals, Ryan mentioned that their win versus CLG, while ugly, was the only thing keeping Immortals from taking from taking to last in the rankings. Golden Guardians of all teams went deathless versus Immortals. Let that sink in. And CLG was versus CLG, and versus CLG starting a new mid laner in his first full week with the team not even practicing, after not even practicing mid lane the split. Yeah, that's a very good point, Ryan. Full Welter was practicing jungle this split to replace because of the Broxa and Shurnfire fiasco for Team Liquid. So he's just getting back to practicing mid lane. And Immortals had better draft weapons, and they still almost lost. So many of their losses have been horrid, and a majority of the wins have been weak. That's exactly what I said when we were talking about that game, is that I really believe it's like 4 of Immortals' 6 wins are games they had no business winning. Like, this is a team that is just catching... I can't say it's like break after break, but they are just facing teams that are just shooting themselves in the foot over and over. And congratulations on them being able to capitalize on this. But this team is not a third place. They are third place by technicality, but I have them as 8th in my power rankings. Ryan has them 7th in his power rankings. This team is... They win those ugly games, sure, but when it comes to playoff time, there's going to be a lot less ugly games, and you're going to have to figure out a way to capitalize on... You're going to have to figure out a way to win your own game. Right now, they're really only winning off of their opponent's mistakes, for the most part. I'm not sorry where they fall and who's above. Yeah, exactly right. That's a good point. So next... Oops, I think... Oop, okay. No, I just had a message real quick. Maybe. But yeah. We have Golden Guardians and 100 Thieves at 6 and 5. I have... There it is. I have Golden Guardians 6, 100 Thieves 5. Very similar situation again, like this. I think for the most part, even though we have these out of order, we're all feeling the same. Let's talk top 4. Top 4, I have TSM number 4. You also have TSM number 4. TSM are unique to NA, where most teams flip-flop from game to game each week. TSM flip-flop entirely between weeks. They feel like another GG scenario of a team trying to nail down their identity, which doesn't make sense because I thought they had it already like 3 times now. Such a good point, Ryan. Such a good point. Point fingers at draft as much as you want, but while they assuredly have problems, I've had issues with a lot of drafts in NA, even for C9. It doesn't excuse this team seemingly having no idea how to actually press their advantage, besides fighting or trying to fight more. And while I appreciate that sort of mindset, LPL Colt, I've converted him. It's about what you're fighting for and what you can gain as a result, which TSM doesn't seem to grasp. That is a very good point. Not only do LPL teams fight, they get objectives off of those fights, and TSM does not do that whatsoever. I love that point. That and their team fighting have been shoddy and out of sync a lot of times. They rank above GG due to owning the head-to-head. Yeah, TSM... very shaky right now. like so shaky. I think that I'm worried for this team because they lost 2 in a row, and sure, they've always bounced back and gone 2-0 after that, but this week they have C9 and I believe, who is it? They have C9 and I'm totally blanking on their other opponent this week. Boom, 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 boom. Week 7. They have C9 and FlyQuest. Number 1 and number 2 in the league. That's not going to be easy. At all. And I think that if they go 0-2 again this week, that puts them at what? 6 and 8 on the year? That could potentially put TSM out of playoffs with how close everyone is. There's only one, like we said before, 3rd place and 9th place is only a 1-point difference. So... well, you're never gonna know. You're never gonna know with teams like this. Team Liquid, you have a number 3. I have my number 2 personally, but that might be a little bias here. Ryan, I told you my formula is fair will. Team Liquid just needed to perform and climb, and here they are. And they look scary as hell. It may just be 1 week, but I think we have a clear top 3 in NA now. And if this is the TL we have to look forward to, week 9 is going to be spicy as fuck. Yeah, this was a good week by Team Liquid. Like, Broxa, exactly what I brought up earlier. was that Broxa is going to just absolutely, if he's going to perform like this is exactly what we needed from Team Liquid. Like, this is exactly what every Team Liquid fan was looking forward to, including myself. When they lost Smithy, I was super, super sad, but having Broxa was supposed to bring the early game that Team Liquid never had with Smithy. They had the late game team fights, and teams in NA always made mistakes, so it didn't matter anyway from that point. But now with that kind of level of... oopsies, I accidentally clicked on my editing software, so it's like completely lagging my computer. But I can't argue with the math. No, I can't. I have them at second just because they've beaten FlyQuest really hard before, and it might be my little bit of bias, and just seeing how well Broxton performed made me very happy. But you have FlyQuest number 2. You said, speaking of top 3 in NA, FlyQuest continue to have a present surprise of NA. They dominated Dig to affirm their place in top 2, and their loss to C9 did not hurt them in my rankings. And even then, they actually had good looks versus C9 and did aim to challenge them. It was just a matter of C9 somehow, some way, just beating them out. It just about every turn, showing off the grip strength, holding tight, and never letting go. They did take C9 to 35 minutes, so hey, they put up the biggest fight as expected as number 2. They delivered. And you mentioned you're number 1 for Cloud9. I'm so proud of my boys. They just look so good. Not even crazy skirmishing, always fighting and skill checking everyone. They are surprisingly coordinated and calculated. The strong laning regardless of the matchup, and everyone's evenly knowing what to do and being on the same page and having probably the best team fighting by far in NA. And hey, Dig showed what happened when enemy team draft winning lane matchup. Looker just turned into a sponge, absorbed all the pressure as team rotate and control objectives. Niski just casually soloing kill Huni's Lucian, and Looker still being strong. And building Triforce on Aatrox to make LS proud. Let me pull up here, because now we are going to go into our predictions for this week. And the first game between Dignitas and 100 Thieves... Is that the first game, Ryan? I thought the first game was C9. But I thought it was C9 versus TSM, but you could be right. You could be right. Let's go to the LoL Esports. LoL Esports. This is the one that's always the official one we found out. Watch LCS. TSM versus Cloud9. I am correct. You suck. No, your notes are meaningless. No. We'll get Brian's predictions and stuff after before the games, and I'll have them updated before next podcast. But first game, we have C9 versus TSM. This is scary for C9, according to Ryan. TSM only goes 2-0 or 0-2, and they're just coming off an 0-2 week. They're due for the flip from their flop, especially versus a big rival in C9. That said, I think C9, barring some weird draft shenanigans, are stronger across the board and as a team and smarter in terms of playing out the game. TSM need to implement Draft Kingdom and lay on the gas early and never allow to have a genuine shot. Nope, they didn't change the schedule. You were just wrong. No. But yeah, I think... I also agree with you. I have C9 as winning as well. I think that, like we mentioned before, TSM can only go 0-2 or 2-0. It's going to be rough on them this week, especially against C9. I think they're unfortunate that C9's the first game because they got to go 0-2 after they lose the first one. So we're going to see a possible 6-8 TSM probably out of the playoffs by that point. I don't actually have the math necessarily on how it would play out according to my predictions, but they're probably going to be on the outside looking in after this week, and that kind of sucks because I think from a talent-wise or perspective, they are much better than most other teams in NA at the moment. They just got to get it together. They're just not consistent. 100 Thieves versus Dignitas. You have 100 Thieves. I have 100 Thieves. Two teams that are impossible to call part one. I feel like you could have 5 parts for that in NA. But Meteos versus Grig and Someday versus Huni are the key matchups. Meteos seems to fall apart if he gets out jungled. 100 Thieves tend to win if Someday gets a good matchup. And Huni tends to have issues in matchups that goes really badly. All these plays well into 100 Thieves' success. Absolutely. I think Meteos does very, very well into non-aggressive junglers. I think it's the aggressive junglers that really throw Meteos off, and he just can never seem to recover from it. Grig, on the other hand, is not an aggressive jungler at all. So, good job. Meteos is able to just probably farm up just nice and fine, and that 100 Thieves should totally be fine. And like you said, it's Someday versus Huni's spicy matchup, but if Someday is quite better than Huni, in my opinion, for the last few years, and I think that Huni will not be able to stand a chance unless he gets some early cheese on him and just snowballs the lane. If that doesn't happen, it's going to snowball in the reverse. Team Liquid versus CLG. Yeah. We both have Team Liquid. I'm pretty sure we're fair. We're both easy pick right there. As amazing as it would be for Pobelter to somehow beat out Jensen again after being a coach for them, and for Double Life to lose in his return from illness, this note was written before it was benched. It would also be apt to call that insane. TL is arguably vastly superior in every lane, is actually playing like a consistent team. CLG fucking up early like they did this week will be punished severely by Broxan TL. Evil Geniuses versus FlyQuest. We both have Fly. I am sorry, Ryan. We are predicting the exact same thing so far. Let me see. It's going down, down, down. We're good. Okay, we do have one different. There is a change. Yay! I was looking down real quick, but then we only have one game different. So we both have FlyQuest. It's entirely possible that Evil Geniuses come out with a game plan and a clever draft to beat Fly early and often. They did smash Fly in their first game by hard focusing bot. That said, that was when Fly seemed to roll over and die under early pressure focused bot side. They have shown to be much more resilient, and I think that they'll be coming to avenge their first loss and continue to affirm their top 2 standing. I 100% agree with all that. Next, in day number 2, we have Immortals versus 100 Thieves, which Ryan clearly was wrong again. He changed me for clear. No, my predictions are right here, I swear. Not changed at all. You can see them. I'll bring them over since I said they were the same. I just didn't. I realized when I wrote them down, I'm like, I don't want to like have them spoiled, the whole way. So I just had them off to the side. My hands were on the keyboard the whole time. You would hear the clicking. You heard me type in there to someone earlier. Evil Geniuses versus CLG, 100 Thieves versus Immortals. We both have 100 Thieves there. I think the 2 teams are possible to call apart too. It's entirely possible that 100 Thieves, even at the day 1 win for Zero, look like garbage and fall apart under the withering presence of Xmithy and Soaz. But I'm probably foolishly erring on the side of 100 Thieves not doing that and actually putting together 2 solid game plans in a row. Doesn't mean I've read them. I read your notes either right before the podcast or in this situation on the podcast. I always read them right before to give because they're actually, Ryan's notes are legit. Like, this is high quality stuff that gives you a very good refresher from the games. And I always very much appreciate that. But today, since we had to do the LCK, I did the LCK podcast. I didn't get a chance to read them right before the podcast. But yeah. Yeah, I agree completely with that. I think 100 Thieves. I think it's going to be a very good week for 100 Thieves. Like I said, I had them at 5th. You had them at 6th. I think, I even mentioned earlier in the podcast, this is my one team. I think the top 4, definitely top 3 with Team Liquid, FlyQuest, and C9. TSM, I really do believe, is in there. They just got to get it. They just got to get more consistent with it. But I think on the outside looking in, or the inside looking out type teams, like number 5 and number 6 in the playoffs, I think 100 Thieves has the best shot for me personally. That's what I think. And I hope this week they prove it. FlyQuest versus TSM. You said, I picked C9 to beat TSM, so I had to pick FlyQuest to complete the O2 week for TSM. That's exactly what I was thinking when I picked FlyQuest. I was like, oh boy. I was like, oh no. I really wanted to pick TSM here, and TSM had a great start in the first game versus Fly, but Fly managed to pull it back as TSM failed to press the massive advantage. So I don't think Fly will get nearly out. It's a good start and give them as much advantage that Fly would even need to come back to win. Oh, Ryan, I apologize for this, but we switching here. We switching here to TSM. The gut. Just kind of reading that note and just like thinking about this game. The gut's changing at the TSM. The gut's undefeated in NA. Sorry for your loss, FlyQuest, but something just clicked here, and all of a sudden I'm like thinking like TSM's gonna win this game. Don't know why. I think that FlyQuest is the better team, and TSM obviously can't go different than 0-2 or 2-0. But this is the week that they break that. And they're gonna go 1-1. They're gonna go 1-1. They're gonna break it. The gut says so, and the gut is always right. 6-0 in NA so far. Gotta keep it up. So we changed. We got a little spicy there. A little spicy. Dignitas versus Golden Guardians. Dignitas, you picked Golden Guardians. I picked Dignitas. This was the only pick we had different, but now we have two different. You said two teams that are impossible to call. Part 3. Exactly. So I think this game is a complete 50-50. My faith in Golden Guardians is probably entirely misplaced. It's possible that this is the time that my soul is for Dignitas shine bright and hard carry and take advantage of random floods and mispositioning and bad pathing from Golden Guardians. And I initially had Dig for my predictions. Really. I didn't even notice. I don't know why I went with Golden Guardians. I think closer looks at the rebound hard before. Vote of confidence here from when you're making a prediction, and your second bullet point of the prediction is, I don't know why I went with this prediction. I think closer looks the rebound hard from his performance versus the Evil Genius and has a good chance for his Greg in the bot lane for Golden Guardians. We'll probably have a decent time for his Dig's bot lane duo. It will really come down to just how teams draft and come together in the mid game. Yep, I think I'm on the boat of, I think that personally that Froggen is going to have a big game against Golden Glue, and I think that Hanser and Hooney up top, I actually think Hanser will pull out there. So I was in the hope that the solo laners, like you did mention, were going to take this game before Dignitas. Monday Night League. Nope. CLG versus Evil Geniuses. How could we forget? I almost passed this game up. Oh, man. What a shame. That would have been a disappointment. Did I even pick this game? I forgot to pick this game. I did it. I'm sorry. I forgot to pick CLG versus Evil Geniuses. But I did. And I'm picking, disgustingly, CLG. You have, I think, a combination of the flip-flopping from the flag game for Evil Geniuses, CLG being mentally beaten, having lost to TL, and the sad loss to Immortals, and Evil Geniuses wanting to avenge their loss to Crown to CLG. We'll give Evil Geniuses the win here. I actually think that CLG's coordinated play, that was an improvement, but the issue with CLG against Immortals was that CLG would not, or like Immortals doesn't make any moves. If you actually watch like Immortals, they don't do anything. So the issue was CLG also doesn't do anything. So they ended up just waiting it out, and then Immortals got the Ocean Dragon, which is almost an automatic win. So in my opinion, CLG is going to go against Evil Geniuses. Evil Geniuses, I just think, they just run at you randomly. They are the solo queue team. That is going to help the CLG team with Pobelter. Actually, with a little bit of coordination here, they're actually going to be able to win a game, I think, here. A bold prediction. I know, it's CLG, but also Evil Geniuses don't make sense. Yeah, Evil Geniuses literally make 0 sense at all times. Let me type real quick. And then we have finally Team Liquid versus Team Liquid for the Monday Night League versus Immortals. You only got one quick note here. Broxah will be looking for his revenge this game, and I think it's going to come in a big way. I agree. I'm in the same boat. I think that Broxah is going to take that early game type style jungle is going to punish Immortals really hard this week. I think that the Broxah also even admitted, I saw on Squad, he probably shouldn't have played the first week because he was coming in super jet lagged and everything like that. So I think Team Liquid last week was they snapped. Like they snapped into place. They got it together. We're going to see this team dominate, and we're going to see this team perform to a way where they're only going to, if my predictions come correctly, they're only going to be one game out of second place. Obviously, they're not going to get first place to split. That's impossible. That's going to C9 no matter what. Actually, I think C9 actually has a chance to clinch first place after this week, which is kind of crazy with 2 weeks left. Yeah, so I'm thinking Team Liquid's going to come out strong and get second by the end of the split. And they're going to beat Immortals hard. Finally, C9 versus Golden Guardians. You can't pick against C9. C9, it's impossible to pick against C9. GG had a team that is scrapping and could surprise you before the second Flacco's game. GG was C9's longest game to split. Closer had good moves to get them going early, and Keith's gotten a lot better since their first game. However, overall, C9 outclasses them all across the board as a team. And C9 officially locked first place with a 2-0 week. Yep, 100% agree. We do have, now, Ryan, we do actually have 3 different picks. So you have a lot of ground. You can make up a lot of ground, or I can bury you. Let's go back here real quick. I can completely bury you this week. Like last week, on week 5, we had 3 different picks, and I won all 3 of them, unfortunately, which just, so, if you win all 3 of them this week, you're only going to be 4 down with 2 weeks left. If you don't, and if I win all 3, then I pretty much clinch first place this year, I would say. And yeah, you weren't here. I congratulated you earlier in the podcast saying that you were above 500, and I was very excited. Yes, you have passed Brian. You passed Brian last week, but you passed him. You kept the lead. You passed him 2 weeks ago, but you've kept the lead you're 2 points ahead of him now. I'm actually doing pretty good in NA this year. This is probably my best year in NA ever, just because of a 9-1-7-3. That's I usually have like 5 5s and 6 4s consistently, and then like a bad week, like a 3 and 7 or something. I haven't had a week under 500 yet in NA, which has been pretty nice. But with that, I think that will be it for this podcast. Thank you guys so much for coming out. We had 2 of them today. This one was, to be fair, much better than Korea, but that makes sense because I've actually had time to watch the full games and not just the little highlights that I can watch off event VODs for Korea. But with that, we are going to be done for today. We will talk tomorrow about LEC. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow for LEC. Thanks, guys. Sorry for the delay. I apologize for it. I gotta get better with it. Good night.